I'm Josh Light with PoliticIt.com. I'm here with Jonathan Snow, who's running for Congress in District 12 in Florida as the Democratic nominee. How are you doing, Jonathan?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing fine. Now tell us the big difference between you and your competitors in this race.
Well, I am the only millennial candidate running for this seat right now. In fact, in Congress, we don't have a single member of the millennial generation. It's no wonder why we always go to war, because the millennials are fighting. It's no wonder why education is always one of the first things on the chopping block. And it's no wonder when they try to do something horrible like pass the Ryan budget, they say, well, don't worry, it's not going to go into effect for 10 years. Well, I don't know about the other candidates in the race, but I plan on being around in 10 years from now. And I want to make sure this is a country we continue to be proud of.
And what issues are you concerned about in this race?
Well, Americans are struggling right now. Really, we have close to nearly 1 in 4 Americans are either unemployed or underemployed. 2 in 5 Americans can't afford to go to a doctor when they're sick, or let alone take a prescribed medication. And more than 1 in 7 Americans can't afford to feed themselves without government assistance. And all at the same time, the wages of average Americans have actually gone down, even though their productivity has increased. And so the reason I'm running is to add my voice and ideas and the voice and ideas of the people and unite behind common sense solutions to get our country back on the right track.
And Jonathan, how do we fix unemployment? How do we fix this wage problem?
Well, I think one of the things we have to do is raise the minimum wage. Every time we've raised the minimum wage, we've seen an increase in the middle class. Unfortunately, my opponent in the Republican House refuses to even talk about this issue. Raising the minimum wage is one important step. I also like to bring back the Works Progress Administration and the Civilian Conservation Corps. The WPA and CCC were only around for a short time, and in their short time they created millions of jobs. In fact, almost every county in this country has a park that was built as a result of the CCC. We would not have the Hoover Dam, we would not have some of our greatest infrastructure had it not been for the Works Progress Administration. So I want to put millions of Americans back to work by rebuilding our infrastructure, which desperately needs to be done.
And when you're walking out on the campaign trail, what fiscal issues have you found people in Florida concerned about?
A lot of people are talking about pocketbook issues. They're dinner table. They're talking about the rising cost of electricity. They're talking about how sometimes they don't know what their mortgage is going to be next month if they have an adjustable rate mortgage. They're talking about, they are worried about the national debt and deficit, but that's something that needs to be addressed by creating jobs, getting more people involved in the system. When somebody loses their job, then they're going to be collecting unemployment benefits. They're going to be using COBRA insurance. They're going to be possibly using food stamps and other types of government benefits. That increases the deficit and the amount of money the federal government has to spend. So it's much more efficient to spend some money on building a road or building a new bridge or building a high-speed rail, which we all need here, particularly in Florida. I mean, sure, driving through, you've probably seen transportation's awful down here. You spend that money that way, you put Americans back to work, and you save money in the long run.
In District 12, what social issues are people concerned about?
I think people right now are talking a lot about women's issues, because we've seen Romney, we've seen Ryan, and even my opponent Bilirakis standing up for these radical positions that their party has pushed them towards. When I first got into this race, I didn't think I'd be able to say, well, my opponent wants to ban birth control. But that's where we are right now. That the Romney, Ryan, and Bilirakis plan is to ban birth controls, to ban all types of abortion, even in cases of rape and incest. And so I think a lot of people are worried about this, particularly women and young men are thinking that this is not a party that represents them.
How has your past experience prepared you for Congress?
Well, I've been working in retail since I've been at least 14 years old, talking to people, meeting them from all across the country. I've worked down in tourism area. I've worked also in the education sector. I was a substitute teacher for 2 years. And I think both of those actually have been really great preparation running for office. As a substitute teacher, I'd walk into the classroom not knowing necessarily what I'd be dealing with, and having a classroom full of students, they're thinking, oh, hey, it's free day. And I basically have to grab their attention immediately and make it interesting for them and break it down simple. And I know a lot of times I get feedback from their regular teachers saying, you know, they want you to come back. We'd love to have you come and teach.
Are you using social media in this campaign?
Go ahead. Hold that question.
I'm going to ask you if you're using social
We're
media.
still going on that track?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
Are you using social media in this campaign?
Absolutely. I've been using Twitter basically for responding to up-to-the-date minute what's going on relatively. I've been using Facebook to build, expand, and connect members of my friends, family, and other supporters out there. It's been a great way of using it also for sending out my blast emails for people who aren't necessarily signed up for the list. It's been a great way of communicating with other types of groups. And I actually have a blog talk radio show that I've been using to host telephone town halls and take questions live from voters who don't necessarily want to take time to write a letter or send an email, which is another thing that Twitter and Facebook have been good for. That the down to the minute, particularly younger people, they don't want to sit there and write a long letter or a long email to some candidate for office. They just want a quick answer. Where do you stand on this issue? And that provides me an opportunity to be able to do that.
And do you find a lot of people using these?
I do find a lot of ordinary people using these. Among the candidates, I know a lot of people are afraid to go there because everything for them has to be seen through the guise of what is politically correct, politically astute. I do it as an ordinary person would. I put forward what I would think, I put forward what I believe, and the politics be damned. I think we needed people who stand up and show who they really are, and social media offers an opportunity to do that.
Have you endorsed a presidential candidate?
I have. I am fully supporting President Barack Obama. He is the only choice as far as I'm concerned. He is the clear choice. He has been a proven leader, and I would be honored to work with him. What we've had, unfortunately, is we had a Congress that has been trying to stop him every single step of the way. If you look at the number of filibusters, it's unprecedented, and they're filibustering everything. My opponent has even voted against a bill to reduce the number of confirmations needed to go through the Senate. There was only something like 180 confirmations to reduce it by lower level positions, and they blocked that so that way they could filibuster those as well. So we have something, I think it's over 300 different department heads that don't have a permanent department head. They have temporary department heads because the Senate has been blocking them. In the House, they've been voting against them every single step of the way as well right now, at least since 2010 when the Republicans gained control.
And how's fundraising going for your race?
Fundraising is coming along. If anyone wants to make a contribution, they can go to snowforcongress.com and click that contribute button. We're raising money completely from small donors. $5, $10, $25, it all makes a difference. We spend every dollar very wisely. We do not have big dollar donors. Unlike my opponent, we're not collecting money from PACs. We're just dealing with ordinary citizens from across the country who want to be involved in the grassroots campaign.
How's your campaign going?
It's come along very well. We've been contacting voters, setting up our calling system, and anyone who wants to get involved can contact me through the website to be able to do that. We have a calling system set up from home. We're doing that. I can say that I'm very confident that we'll win over the vast majority of Democrats. I believe we're going to win over many independents, and we're going to win over the small percentage of reasonable Republicans.
And where can people go to learn more about you?
They can go to my website, which would be snowforcongress.com. They can find me on Facebook, which would be facebook.com/snowforcongress. And they can find me on Twitter at Jonathan M. Snow.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this.